Hello, family. Welcome to the War on Wellness. And tonight we have special guest, Dr. Jackie McDonough, who's going to be sharing with us her perspective on our Black History series. And that series is Heritage Fusion, our culture, our lifestyle, and our wellness. And we're going to take a trip all the way from the island of Trinidad to the motherland and hear how she is impacting the world. And so I am happy that she's here. I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us at 6 o'clock p.m. So I want to welcome all those who are coming to us with our Facebook channel. And I am not, oh, it says that I am live on Instagram. Okay, good. I was hoping that that would work. And we thank you for all those who are joining. And so we are here every Wednesday with the War on Wellness with myself, Plant-Based Penny. Sometimes I have a guest, and sometimes you're privileged to just have me. But I want to share with you, for those of you who may not know me and those of you who do, it's a reminder. I'm going to be sharing with you my commercial, and we will be right back. And when we come back, we're going to have my guest, Dr. Jackie McDonough. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Thank you. And as promised, I have my special guest, Dr. Jackie McDonough, here with us this evening. And she is a phenomenal woman. So thank you very much for joining us. And I just wanted to say just a little bit about her to present to others and introduce to some. She's originally from the island of Trinidad, which has some really great people, because I know some great people from the island of Trinidad. If you know Trinidad, put Trini in the comments. And she actually started in gardening and getting her hands in the earth, starting back when she was young, and progressed from there, working when she was in high school. She actually got her doctorate degree from University of Virginia and joined the VCU, Go Rams, joined their staff, and was tenured at VCU and working in STEM education, which we all know is very important. And she actually took time for herself, that's also called a retirement, in 2017, and her energy toward Pro Farms Gateway, which is in Africa. And we're going to hear a little bit about that as well. So thank you. Make sure you put welcome and thank you in the comments for Dr. Jackie. We thank you so much for your time this evening. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you to
Okay,
share
wonderful.
my love of
Yes,
gardening
yes, yes.
and just the natural world.
Exactly. So yeah, we have mutual loves, the natural world in its totality, just in different little phases and different areas. So, Dr. Jackie, let's start with just kind of level setting and talking about your the oldest relatives that you can remember, and where they were from, and kind of how they grew up, if they grew up in the city or the country, what type of people that they were. And I'll show that picture
So,
while you do.
okay, so this is a photo of my great grandmother, my mother's grandmother. She had already passed when I was born, but she was an amazing woman who was an immigrant to Trinidad. She came from the small island of Carriacou, and that's where she had her education. She was a elementary school teacher. She had four children, and she immigrated when my grandmother was already an adult with children of her own. So she immigrated to Trinidad, and when she immigrated to Trinidad, she also she got married again and had another set of children. So what I got from my great grandmother was this whole idea of family and the importance of the closeness of family and family being connected and using whatever we have growing from our land, because her husband was a farmer and several of my uncles were farmers and fishermen. So we we grew up using the what came from Mother Earth, and that's what she
Excellent,
taught us.
excellent. And you have a great family, and I want to welcome my family who are also watching with us. We have D2 Kasui the Great.
You too.
Hello,
I know
D2.
you too.
Yeah, we know some great people. Look at that. We know the same people. We know that, great minds spend time in each other's company. Kenyatta, good to see you. James Massey, Paul McPherson, and thank you all for they're watching over on Instagram, and want to thank all those who are also watching on Facebook. So, okay. So you talked about your great grandmother, and I know that she would be really, really proud of the legacy that she has left. And so, how do you think that influenced who you are today?
Okay, so a quick story. My
Mhm.
great grandmother, when she immigrated to Trinidad, she ended up down in the southwestern part of Trinidad. And they started bringing relatives from Carriacou started coming to Trinidad, and they all settled in the same area. So eventually her eldest daughter, my grandmother, moved with her family. My All of her other children moved to Trinidad. And we so today many of those same relatives, their descendants, are living in the same place. We also we bought a house. We built a house on the land that my father's grandmother purchased in 1931. So, which is just 10 kilometers away from where my grandmother and her family settled. So, from my father's side and my mother's side, we have this amazing legacy of family connectedness.
I love it. I love it. So you talked about your family in Trinidad, and your family. You matriculated at one point, or somebody matriculated to the United States. So was that you, or was that your parents or
My
grandparents?
parents, my parents immigrated to the United States, to New York, to Brooklyn, where many Caribbean people lived. And there followed, we had this big brownstone in Park Slope, and many of our relatives then immigrated, and most of them came to our house when they came off the plane. So they would
So
stay at our house until they got their first jobs and then their apartments. So we've always had that thing about, helping family and giving them a hand up.
and that's what it should all be about, helping and caring and sharing. So what I want to know is how the your heritage influenced who you are today. So do you, when you look at who you are today and what you're interested in and what you like, do you see a connection and share a little bit about us? What do you think the connection is?
So I am an earth scientist. So I used to teach environmental science. I have a minor in astronomy. I I teach climate smart strategies. So because I came from an island that I was always immersed in nature, I had always been interested in the weather and why we had storms and why hurricanes didn't hit our island. And, eventually I knew the science behind what I lived. And I think many people become what they become because of experiences they've had in their childhood. So for me, it was because I was immersed in nature, I always had those questions and I studied them to get the answers. So, and that has influenced everything about my life in terms of growing my own food, trying to, eat natural foods and being very conscious of additives or conscious of just not overindulging and living in a way to extend your life and to be well.
I know. I echo that. I will give that my stamp of approval from Plant Based Penny. Looking for ways. Did y'all hear that? Somebody put extend your life in the comments because I love that. Looking for ways to extend your life. You're hearing that, Onita? I know Onita Hall is watching as well. Looking for ways to extend your life, whether that's through uh, activity outside. We outside, y'all.
Mhm.
We're no longer required to be inside. And so get outside and get into the earth and be grounded and get your hands dirty and get the sunshine, all of that. Eat the vegetables that are grown. And so I want you to tell me about the gardening part because that's like now we're in zone 7A for those who
Mhm.
are in other parts of the world and the other parts of the country. And so in February, people are kind of trying to decide what it is they're going to do as far as gardening and you being the pro here, let us
So,
know what it is that we should be doing right now for those of
right
us who.
now, you could be setting up your milk jug seeds. You could start growing your vegetable seeds in milk jugs, gallon size or half-gallon size milk jugs. You cut it in half, you put soil in it. First, you put some holes in the bottom, and you could sow spinach, carrots, many of the cold crops that start early, peas, green peas. And then within the next month, those seeds should have germinated and they'll be ready to go into your garden. We should not be raking our leaves, people, until the temperature stays at 50 degrees or higher for a few days. So we want the earth to warm up. Insects live in the leaves. The insects that are important for our environment live, their eggs are in the leaves or they overwinter. Do not rake your leaves. Don't kill the dandelions. All the early bees that are the pollinators, the first pollinators, they are coming out of the ground within the next few weeks. They need the dandelions for their food. So let's think about what we are spraying on our lawns and not do it. Let's leave our leaves alone. And once you rake your leaves, if you mulch with those leaves, just put them onto your beds, put them into your gardens. They are gold. Don't throw them away, people. Or you could actually compost. So start working on your compost. Save your kitchen scraps for your compost. All winter, we've been adding to our compost. It's nice and rich and ready to put on our vegetable garden.
I
And you
love
could be in the city and and grow your own vegetables. Use pots, use containers, use boxes with contractor bags, those black bags. There's a way you could do that. Just go on YouTube and get the direction. There's
Yeah.
no excuse. You could grow all of your greens.
Did y'all hear that? Somebody needs to put no excuse in the comments because I'm hearing that. Did you hear that? My cousin Raymond Carney, who's married to a Trinidadian, Trinidadian.
Mhm.
Is that say that right? Trinidadian.
Yes, you got it.
You're Trini. So,
Mhm.
yes, it is so true that we can do something. Now, everybody might not have the huge farm and they need a tractor and they need to do a whole
No
lot
need.
of anything. I am jealous of you, Dr. Jackie, because I have grow bags, on my deck, and I have a little
Mhm.
plot of land that I can grow some tomatoes, but I'm growing something for the time being, and trying to grow my medicinal garden. And I already have my corn starts, and I have my lentil starts that I've covered up because it's gonna be 29 degrees tonight. So
Yes.
where we are.
It's
So
too
we're
early for corn.
right. Oh well. Somebody gave them to me. I can't turn away plant babies. I just can't turn away seedlings because I just love plant babies. But that's good to know. I've never grown it before. So she said 50 degrees, and you mean the nighttime temperatures that you want it the 50 degrees?
Yes. Well, actually, the nighttime temperature at 50
Yep.
degrees. Yes,
Okay. Right.
or
But
higher.
people can go ahead and
So
start
right
inside.
now, I have. Yes, you can. I have kales in my garden. They overwinter. Kales are biennials, so you could grow kale for 2 years. Don't pull it up at the end of the season. Leave it, and I could actually get kale leaves to put in my smoothies right now. They're growing.
So are you covering that though at night?
No,
So like
ma'am.
tonight's gonna get 29
No,
degrees. You
ma'am.
just leave. They just
No,
love the
ma'am.
cold.
They're cold crops. They have a chemistry that allows them to withstand the cold.
Yes. So the kale and probably collards, um,
Collards,
mustard
kale,
greens, things like
mustards,
leafy
many of the
greens.
greens. Hmm.
So, so would Brussels sprouts be in that, or cabbage?
Yeah,
Cabbage.
Brussels sprouts and cabbage. If you planted your Brussels sprouts in the fall, and they 2 years for Brussels sprouts also.
Okay. Oh, I love it. I love it. Look at that. So that means we can be our own grocery store.
Absolutely. So in my pot on the stove right now are collards that I froze from the summer.
I love
Chopped,
it.
cleaned, chopped up, froze, and it's cooked. It's on the stove. That's tonight's dinner.
Okay, what time should I be over? Just let me know. Send it to me in Google Maps. I'm already hungry. All I got here is my tea, and this is not going to hold me forever. So, okay, very good. So, and we're gonna transition to Africa here in a minute, but I want to make sure that
Yes.
we leave people with what is it that the new gardener who has not you know been president of garden associations like you, what is it that they can do that they can possibly be successful at so that it will keep them engaged in gardening?
They need to find a local garden supply center where they're growing their own plants locally, not the big box stores. And we in Mechanicsville, there's several, out in Chesterfield, there's several places where you could buy sets of plants like vegetables for a few dollars, a couple of dollars, for a set of four, and you put them in your grow bag or your pot or your raised bed. You mix your soil, make sure you have good potting soil, and you use your kitchen scraps, the food scraps, no meats, but the vegetable scraps, your onion skins, your eggshells, all that stuff. Just bury it in your garden and it will decompose. You don't have to have a fancy compost pile. We're just burying ours. We buried it all over our yard, and it's making the yard very fertile because they're earthworms and they eat it up. So you get your sets and follow the recommendations about when to plant. We shouldn't be putting summer vegetables in the ground until May. So the like tomatoes and all that stuff. But you could plant peas, green peas. and spinach and those kinds of things right now. You can get them started in your little milk jug
Yeah,
greenhouse. And that's outside. You're not putting
right.
it inside.
Okay. Very good. So, and I'm going to try not to hog you, but I should have asked the people who are watching on YouTube. Hello from YouTube. Uh, Make sure you say hello back, and also Instagram and Facebook.
Hey.
But I wanted to ask. So I got some organic lettuce and I put it in some water and it started growing roots. Is that
Mhm.
something that I can actually plant now since it has two roots? But I see it starting to
You could
grow.
plant, you could put it in soil. Yes, you could plant
Okay.
it in soil.
Okay.
And
Very
you could
good. Very good.
actually start lettuce seeds right now.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So yeah. So if somebody has a gardening question, I'm going to show you Dr. Jackie's email just so that you would have that, so that you will know what it is that where it is that you can get that information. But I am excited.
So
Oh,
I'm going to have to
one.
give a plug for, I'm the president of Oxford. I'm the president of Oxford Garden Club. And that's another place. Join a garden club. We meet during the day. There are garden clubs all over Virginia that folks could join, and you. That's one of the things we talk about in garden clubs. You learn from the other members, you learn from the speakers. So that's one great way to do it.
Hmm,
Plus,
that's
we have the extension service. That's another big source of information, and YouTube.
one. Yes, yes, most definitely. So I love it. I love it. So I am wondering. So as we transition, so our heritage and our culture, we talk about our lifestyle, and we have this very beautiful picture of the family. Many of them I actually know. So I'm going to say hello to Shelly. Hello to brother, sister Osborne. Hello to Stephen. I didn't even know that Stephen was your son until like 5 minutes
Yes, he
ago.
is.
I'm like, oh my goodness. So, hello, Stephen. How are you? Stephen and I were in Urban Financial Services Coalition together, and I was his coach for oratorical speech contest. And so, yeah, I am wonderful that there's such great threads of family members going throughout the life. So, hello to the family. Hello to the family. And also, so now what I want to do is let's take a little trip, okay? And we're gonna take a little trip. And so you retired,
Yes.
took an early retirement because she's obviously not old enough to retire, guys. And she decided to focus on an area of her passion. So you heard the passion that she has for life and for growing things and to for bringing things to fruition. And she we did not mention this, but she was also a science and math teacher. Was it?
I was a science teacher in K-12, and then I was at VCU as a science. I prepared science teachers for schools. I was a teacher educator for 20 years at VCU.
Very, very good. Yes, yes. Want to make sure we get that right. And so from there, she transitioned to helping those who are marginalized, helping marginalized people realize their potential and working with the earth and the environment. And so, if you would tell us a little bit about that, and while you do that, I'm going to show the next slide photo.
So my son Stephen, uh, went to Ghana. He had been going for about 10 years. And during the pandemic, he decided he did not want to be in the United States. So he went to first Rwanda and then Ghana, and saw an opportunity for us to establish a farm. So we bought a 30-acre citrus, old citrus plantation, and it was very depleted. And we realized that we thought we were going to, just grow food, because there was this whole issue around accessibility to food during the pandemic, and we felt we needed to be in a place where we could be growing food and making food available. And one of the things we realized in Ghana and many continental African countries was that they are net importers of food. They may grow some crops there, but they get most of their food from the outside, and that is not okay. Continental Africa has more than 50% of arable land available for planting, yet they are importing food because many of their farms are very smallholder farmers who, the skills that they have some good skills, but their skills are not up to date with what's going on in the environment. We have climate change. So they're affected by adverse weather conditions. The soil has been depleted because of monocropping. They plant just one crop, and they were planting for export. So they would export their crops, and then they would re-import the processed foods. So we felt there was a niche, there was an area for us to come in and work with these smallholder farmers to, number one, teach them soil enrichment. So it's part of the whole sustainable farming movement. Teach them how to enrich the soil organically and increase the water table, because the water table has dropped very low. So they're very dependent on pumps to get the water up. And when it's not raining, they can't grow unless they're growing just a few crops. So on this farm, a big piece of what we do is teach new techniques, sustainable farming techniques. But we also, as you see from this photo, we're working with children, the local school, introducing them to some other types of foods, increasing the availability of the crops that they have that they could eat. And we are working on another project where we will actually be looking at planting medicinal plants that could fight malaria, which is endemic to this area. Plants that, you could actually grow your own pharmacy. And that's plants as medicine. I know this is your thing, Penny. And we will be doing that on the farm also. And we'll have a wellness center, and we're looking at establishing a resort there also to make jobs available, because there are not very many economic opportunities in that area. It's fairly rural, an hour outside of Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Yeah.
In the Ashanti region, and it is Kumasi. Oh, well, let me, because not everybody knows where Ghana is on the map. So let us.
So here's a great thing that I learned. My husband and I did our DNA, and our family, our ancestors actually originated on the Ghana coast somewhere. Our DNA has been traced back to the Ghana Togo region. So we've actually returned home. That's how I see it. We have returned home.
Full circle. Full
Yes.
circle. So yes, and so we have Ghana is on the west coast, and I see on that map too, Congo, where D2 is from.
Yes.
And so yes, there
DRC.
is a lot of heritage that comes from Africa that we can trace back to here in the United States and in the islands, because of course of the slave trade, and because of the people who were just explorers before slavery was even an economic factor in our world. And so, Dr. Jackie, as we bring our broadcast to a close, I want to ask, so what would you advise or share with our listeners and what they can do to continue to live in wellness now. There's so much that's going on in our lives. What is it? What
Mhm.
advice would you give?
A couple of things. Be grateful on a daily basis. Be grateful. Exercise. Walk. Walk, walk. You don't have to be a runner. You could just walk. Walk a few minutes, about 15 minutes after your meal, walk for half an hour. The other thing is, we're going to live long. Many of us will live long. There are some exercises we could do to decrease our chances of getting Alzheimer's. There's a breathing exercise I've discovered, and there's some research behind it, where breathing in for 5 seconds, out for 5 seconds for 20 minutes twice a day significantly decreases a protein in your blood that causes Alzheimer's. So eat well. Eat well in terms of be mindful of what you're eating. Try to grow as much of your food as possible. And when you have to purchase food, buy food that is not processed. Buy food you have to cook. Cook. Sit down. Be with your family. Keep your family close. We live longer if we are in close contact with people. And if it's not your blood relatives, it could be friends. But you need to have personal connections. So eat well, be intentional about eating whole foods, exercise, look at doing some breathing exercises to decrease your chances of Alzheimer's. Stay in touch with people. Be grateful every day of your life and be good to other folks. And I think that really sums up how you could just model your life.
I love it, and I really love it because here at Plant Based Being Life, we're all about holistic wellness, and so it's not just diet, it's not just exercise, it's not one aspect of your life. It's the total being, and
Mhm.
the tips that you gave are right on the money, right on the mark. And so I did not show this before, but I want to make sure that I show the Instagram account for the Pro Farms Gateway in Ghana. So make sure that you go there, that you follow their page, and tell them that Penny sent you when you get
Yes.
there. And
And we are a nonprofit. We are a nonprofit.
yes, yes.
501c.
And so yes, that's
501c.
great. You have the opportunity to participate in empowering people and children across the globe by
Yes.
contributing to Pro Farms Gateway in Ghana. So check out their page on Instagram, which is right there, at Pro Farms underscore Gateway, and they can give you further information on that. This has been absolutely great. We have had a wonderful series called Heritage Fusion, our culture, our lifestyle, and our wellness. And Dr. Jackie is our culminating guest. And I want to thank all of the guests for our Black History Month for February. Dr. Jackie, is there any parting word that you want to give and share before we
Well,
go?
I just have to say thank you, Penny, for a lot, for inviting me to chat with you. This has been wonderful. And it's so great to hear that you know so much of my people.
I know,
And,
I know.
in the diaspora, we have to stay connected. In the diaspora, we have to stay connected. And we have to remember our folks back home and use our talents to better everyone's life.
To better our world. Exactly. So
Yes.
thank you. You've bettered our world tonight, and you've used your talents that God has blessed you with. And so we thank you for that. We look forward to the greatness that you will do in the next chapter here in your life and that you are doing. So continue to do that. We encourage you do that. Somebody put thank you in the chat. I want to say hello. My cousin Angie is also watching. So, and hello to everybody else who are catching the replay. If you have any questions, feel free to put those down in the comments and we'll respond to those afterwards. But let me know if you're watching on the replay, put replay. If you're watching live, put live. So we will know. And make sure that you like, comment, and share. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Plant Based Penny and follow on Instagram and Facebook, Plant Based Penny Life. So thank you. Make sure that you join again next week. We'll be back for the War on Wellness, and we will announce another exciting Women's History series that will be coming up. So I'm excited about that, and I thank you again, and we will talk with you later. Be well, family. I'm going to show you my video on the way out.